Lens? Good. Is there another thing? I don't know if there was or not. What is it? Oh, the current events. Yeah, Forney. I keep forgetting to remind everybody in first period. I guess we'll skip it this week. Oh, well. Yeah. Next week, how about you're up first? Huh? No? Oh, all right. Okay, so yep, syllabus and movie form. That is due Friday. If you haven't done so already, put the quiz in. Turn that quiz in for the website. I think everybody did that already. So I'll put those grades in probably tonight. Does that work? You get that turned in, Kiara? Good. Good. What's up, Trinity?
I actually got my class changed today.
You're in here?
Yep.
Okay. So I need to get you the class code.
Okay.
Here you go. Come back here quick. Here's the code. I need to get you in the Apple classroom then, too.
Okay.
There you go. And then the code for Apple Classroom. So you got to go to settings. There you go. Classroom. Yep. And then 1134.
Wait. Right there.
There it is. Yep. 1134. Good.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Where do you want me to sit at?
Wherever you want. Yep. Wherever you want. All right. So where do we begin? Where do we start? I guess the bell ringer, right, Kiara? Yeah. That's the way to start here. Bell ringing it up. What? No. So, what was the main cause to World War II? What do we think? Write it down. Write it down. If you want to do it on a Google Doc, you want to do it on a Word doc, write it in your notes. That helps out a lot too. If you want to just use the sheet under general information, bell ringer sheet, that's fine too. But what was the main cause to World War II? Try not to just use your iPad and look it up right away. That's the easy way out. Those you had me American History 1, there's a reason why it's called World War II, right? Yeah, right? Second World War. So there's a reason why it's called that. Maybe the first one has to do something with it. So give you some time. How about 2 to 3 minutes here? Complete this and we'll go over it. Serene got it done already. My man. It's right up here, right? Underneath the helmet hair, right? I'm just kidding. Yeah. What does Lily say about your hair?
Oh, she loves it.
Does she?
Oh, yeah. They all love it.
Who drives to school usually? Or do you flip-flop?
Flip-flop.
No, okay.
Yeah. If I'm not tired, then I drive. But
When aren't you tired?
I'm tired all the time.
I was going to say, so she drives all the time then.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny. Do you take pictures of the items at your house?
No, because I don't have a printer in my house, so I have to like print them here.
Oh, can't you just do it on your phone?
I guess I could do that.
Or your iPad?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Then you can project it on the screen. We can all look at it.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That'll be neat. Yeah, when we get to a park, you'll be like, oh, hey, I got a picture of this.
They all have a neat history behind it. So,
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Do they all have pretty cool stories behind it? Or?
Yeah, some of them do. Yeah. Just the history behind a lot of the pieces too. Involves the past as well. So.
Yeah, man.
To get to those points, I'll be sure to read it.
Oh, boy. That'd be cool. Thanks, Fareen.
Of course.
All right, I'll give you another minute to finish up here. A minute to finish up. Oh, Philip Rivers is retiring. You see that? Man, darn it. Didn't get to win the Super Bowl.
He's never been that good.
What? He's a really good quarterback.
Who's average?
Average. Who's good for you then?
Risky.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so what was the main cause of World War II? There's a lot of them. So there's really no right answer. But today I want to focus out one in particular. What do we have here? What do we got? What's your response, Forney?
I said providing militarism.
Okay, all right, yeah. So a lot of the causes to World War One are also a result to World War II. Militarism is a good one. Build up a military. Good job. What do you have, Griffin? Okay, invasion of Poland. All right. So that will be, a couple. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks from here yet. There's some things that we need to talk about first before we get to it. But yeah, good job. That was a start to World War II. That invasion of Poland. Good. Kiara, what do you got? Mania. Okay, so you're just gonna repeat it from World War One. Kinda, yeah. Sorta. Is there an assassination? Multiple, yeah, okay. Serene?
Treaty of Versailles.
All right, good job. That's what I'm going to talk about today. The Treaty of Versailles. Okay, the Treaty of Versailles. That's a great way to start World War II. Obviously, the ending of World War One. Right, something had to have happened to push for a second World War. Okay, so to push for the second conflict. So yeah, we have to look towards the end of World War One. This is already building up to the next war, and there's a lot of causes to that. A lot of reparations put on Germany that pushed them to, I guess, seek revenge. Right? Troy, what do you have? Yeah, all right, good job. So the ending of World War One, good. What do you have, Lentz? Okay. What about you, Jeffrey?
Germany wants to make a superior race of human beings and willing to do anything to achieve that.
All right. Okay. So you're talking about some intensive nationalism there. Okay. And this idea of superiority, right? Higher class individuals. Okay. What do you got, Trinity?
Economic depression.
Okay, economic depression. Good work. All right. We'll talk about the dog plan and how that caused a lot of issues moving forward, which created a worldwide depression. Where do you go from here? Right. Autumn, what do you have? Treaty of Versailles. Good work. Kira? All right, good job. What about you, Gracie? Failure to keep peace. Good work, right? Good work. So League of Nations, that was set up, that was established to try to keep peace. This organization and groups of countries coming together, but obviously that didn't work out too well. Good job. I'm glad you mentioned that. Good job. All right, so today we're going to talk about the Treaty of Versailles, the ending of World War One, and then we'll also mention the League of Nations. Good. And how that was going to result to World War II, the buildup of this huge conflict. Good. All right, so write that down. Keep that question, keep that answer. Make sure you don't lose it. I'm going to check it at the end of the week and give you points for it, okay? And you'll find some of these bell ringers, not all of them, on tests, quizzes, you name it. All right, vocab. Here we go. So we're going to do like a working vocab. So I'll give you time to work on it now, and I'll discuss it. I'll go over it. So just for today, we'll talk about these terms. There you go. For some of them, we were not going to mention too much in detail. Maybe just a little bit of information about them, but that's about it. All right, there you go. So write these terms down. I'm going to check these towards the end of the unit, the chapter. And I'll give you a grade for them. There you go. Treaty of Versailles, League of Nations, Woodrow Wilson, George Clemenceau, David Lloyd George, and Victoria Orlando. There you go. Let's write those down, get the definitions. I'll discuss it, I'll go over it. And we'll move on. All right, so real quick, Treaty of Versailles, what do you got? What do you have, Serene?
Treaty that ended World War One and the German defeat, line out reparations that had to be paid by the German government.
Good work, good job. So it's pretty much the treaty that ended World War One, and this set heavy reparations against Germany. And we'll talk about some of these things today and what it actually entailed for Germany moving forward. It was really just trying to punish them, make sure that they never rise to power again. Which ultimately, if you're trying to do that, Germany's going to be a little upset about it. Maybe they won't follow it too long. All right, League of Nations. Gracie, what do you have since you brought it up earlier? Or don't you have it yet? Okay, all right. League of Nations. Who wants to help us out here this term? Forney, do you have this one?
It was the first worldwide organization.
Good job. Good job. So who came up with the idea? Guy right below it. Below that term there. Who came up with it? Yeah, good job. Woodrow Wilson. All right, he came up with this idea with the League of Nations, which would be established as a peace organization. All these countries would come together, try to solve disputes before war would happen. Obviously, it didn't work out too well, which we'll talk about.
We didn't even join it, did we?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Why not? Congress said no because.
Because the problem so we can fix it.
What's that?
I don't know. We made a problem so we can fix it and get better.
All right, yeah, we don't have to get involved in European affairs, right? Why not? Where are we at location-wise compared to Europe? These other European countries. Well, in the middle, we're all across the Atlantic Ocean, right? We're far away from them. There's no reason for it to get involved, right? Yeah, there you go. All right, Woodrow Wilson, President of the United States towards the end of World War I, and he established the 14 points, okay, the League of Nations, which we'll talk a little bit more about today. All right, so president during World War I. George Clemenceau, what do we have here? What do we have here? Lentz?
French statesman who played a key role in writing the Treaty of Versailles.
Yeah, good job. So this was one of the big players in this writing of the Treaty of Versailles. He was going to make sure that Germany could never come to power again to challenge them. Before World War I, we had the Franco-Prussian War. Germany pretty much humiliated them. Took some territory from them. Alsace-Lorraine, right? Remember all this sauce in Lorraine? Yeah, so they took that territory from them. And then World War I, same thing. Guess who attacked France again? Germany. So George Clemenceau wanted to make sure that this would not happen again. He was one of the big players in writing this up. David Lloyd George. What do we have here? What do we have? Jeffrey?
The United Kingdom Prime Minister during World War I.
Okay, good job. David Lloyd George. He was coming up with some of these ideas too with the Treaty of Versailles. One of the big things he wanted to make sure that Germany wouldn't have to challenge Great Britain ever again was what? What was Great Britain the best in for hundreds of years? What?
Having a navy.
Navy, right? Yeah, good job. So take their Navy away. He wanted to add that point in there. Good. All right, so we had that second wave industrial revolution. Germany is becoming more dominant, more superior. These two players, France and Great Britain, who were the top dogs for a long time in Europe, wanted to make sure that this power, Germany, doesn't become this world power, this strong, superior force ever again. All right, then Orlando, he didn't have much to say. He didn't have much to say, but what was his claim to fame? What's he all about? Troy, what do you have for Orlando? Yeah, Italy. Good job. Good job. And we know that Italy jumped sides during World War I. All right, so at first they started on the Central Powers, okay, and then later, towards the end of the war, they jumped sides to the Allied powers, probably so that they won't face a lot of repercussions, okay? But still happened that these big players like France, Great Britain, United States thought, well, we're not going to give them too much. We're not going to give them land, territory that they want, okay? And this is going to fuel them even more, even moving forward. All right, is there any questions on those terms? We good? Okay. Moving on here, moving on. Where we at? There it is. Okay, so major causes of World War II. We'll talk about more of these in detail, okay? But these are really the main causes that lead to this war, this huge conflict. The first one, Treaty of Versailles, which we're going to talk about today, okay? All right, so here's kind of a graph. If you want to take a picture of it, that's good, whatever you want to do. This is all leading up to this conflict, this war. But again, it starts off with the ending of World War I, the Treaty of Versailles. That's the biggest player. That's the biggest thing moving forward. As you can see, some of these repeat themselves from World War I, which you stated. Good job, Kiara. Nationalism, militarism. Forney, you said that. Okay, there's a lot of different factors that lead or that are very similar from World War I. Imperialism, okay, expansion. All right, we'll talk about Lebensraum and how Germany is using this to expand their living space for their people. Very similar to what imperialism is. All right, taking more land, more resources for yourself, and becoming stronger, more dominant. You can do that because you're bigger, you're more powerful, you have a stronger military. All right, but the first thing I want to talk about, the Treaty of Versailles. There we go. The Treaty of Versailles, all right, at the end of World War I, it was really up to France and Great Britain. They're just kind of deciding on what they would like to do with Germany towards the end of the war. Okay, one of the main things, which we'll talk about today, sole blame. Okay, the sole blame of the war will be placed on Germany. Okay, they'll have to pay reparations. They'll lose a lot of their military that they had a lot of pride in. Nationalism, right? National pride. It's stripped from Germany, taken away. A lot of their territories that they claimed before World War I, all stripped from them as well. Borderlands stricken down. And there will be countries forming out of the land that's lost and taken away from Germany. And at this time, Woodrow Wilson, it's really not said too much, but he was going through a lot of psychological issues at the time. And yes, he came up with League of Nations, 14 points. But it was to the point where a lot of the decisions and ideas were actually coming from his wife, believe it or not. Okay, and this is maybe why some of the reasons where the United States wasn't as involved with this treaty as much as it should have been. Okay, just because their leader, United States, Woodrow Wilson, he's going through a lot of ailments, a lot of issues. Okay, it's really not talked about too much, but maybe if he was in the right state of mind and had bigger decisions and and stepped forward with some of his ideas with the League of Nations, right? Maybe the United States could have prevented this war from happening, World War II. Who knows? Who knows? Okay. But real quick, main thing, I know I wrote it up on the board earlier this year for American history, right? Lentz, you know this. What were some of the repercussions of Germany moving forward? Remember, Germany was this huge, powerful force during World War I. They challenged Great Britain's Navy with U-boats and dreadnoughts, right? And they had a strong land military that really couldn't be faced or matched by anybody else. It took the alliance of many other countries to come together to try to defeat them. So what were some of the repercussions here? So Treaty of Versailles to Germany. What was that first one I talked about? What was that first one? What did Germany have to do? Or what was I don't want to give it away. You remember this, Troy? Okay, yeah, so reparations, good job. But who was the blame mostly placed on? Germany, right? Okay, so sole blame, we're going to call this the war guilt clause. The war guilt clause. This just showed that Germany was acting out. Okay, they're being really aggressive with their military tactics and the way they were, surrounded by these other countries like France and Russia. Okay, they wanted to make sure that Germany could never become a strong military power again. So sole blame was placed on Germany. 2, good job, Troy, reparations. Billions of dollars being paid towards France. Okay, even a little bit of Russia. Okay, mostly France, where they have to pay to rebuild it. And even today, you can see some of the environmental impacts in Europe from World War I, especially with these trenches, okay, that were dug all throughout Europe. They pretty much stretched from the English Channel all the way down to the Alps, where Switzerland is. All these trenches all throughout the Western Front and even the Eastern Front. A lot of environmental impacts. Okay, so reparations. Germany had to pay back a lot of these reparations. When did Germany finally pay it off? Do you remember? I know I went over it in class earlier this year, American history. When did they finally pay it off? Nope. 2000 and? Yeah, right around there, 2010, 2011. Took that long. Can you believe it? Almost 100 years. Almost 100 years for Germany to pay back all these reparations, all this debt from World War I. Why did it take so long, you think? There's a lot of money, yeah, big time. And do you think these players involved with this Treaty of Versailles, do you think they allowed Germany to have these industries, these resources? No, they took it away. So it's hard for them to rebuild their economy without any factories, without any businesses. How are they going to do it? They can't. They can't. Also, when we get to World War, when we talk a little bit more about Adolf Hitler and his thoughts of the Treaty of Versailles, do you think he followed it? Do you think he was paying any reparations back to the big four here? No. He used it as toilet paper pretty much. He didn't agree with it at all. He didn't think that they should pay. Germany should be paying back this war debt whatsoever. Okay, good. So reparations finally paid back in 2010. Maybe you guys should note that down. It might be an extra credit point. Never know. Never know. All right. What else? What else? What else did they lose, Jeffrey? I don't want you dozing off over there.
Well, they lost respect for their country, I'm pretty sure, and they also lost sense of nationalism.
Okay, how did they lose nationalism? What was taken away from them?
They lost their security,
Okay, which is what?
their power and influence in the hemisphere.
How about military, right?
That's
Military restrictions. Okay, good. You're getting there. You're getting there. Military restrictions. And what restrictions were they? What did they lose? What military restrictions were taken away? Go ahead, Jeffrey.
They were no longer allowed to have a big navy, and they had to slightly reduce their army.
Yeah, how about really reduce it? Like just totally almost taken away. Okay, so their navy taken away because that was challenging Great Britain all throughout World War One. And some of the other military restrictions was that they were only allowed to have around 100,000 reserve troops, only for defensive purposes. So what did Germany really pride themselves on throughout the late 1800s, through the Franco-Prussian War and through World War One? They're what? They're military, right? Yeah, they're military. And now it's being taken away from them. So what do you think that would result to these people in Germany? How do you think they would react to this? It'd be terrible, right? It's almost like you're taking away their prized possessions. Right? Their military is what they really had a lot of national pride involved with. So if you're taking away their military, you're also taking away their nationalism, their national pride. Okay, it's taken away, stripped from them. Good. What else did they lose? What else did they lose? So this goes along with what I mentioned before. If they can't rebuild with any factories or industries, what are they taking away from them? Go ahead, Serene.
Loss of land.
Loss of land. Good job. Land. So let's just say borderlands, okay? So especially on the eastern side, where it all really started for Germany and Prussia, Prussia is taken away. That's where this is all started, this militarism, this nationalism. Okay, the big four, those men down there, Clemenceau, Orlando, Wilson, and David Lloyd George thought, well, let's just take away their national beacon, right? This is Prussia. This is where a lot of militarism came from. This superiority where Germany is far superior and better than everybody else. Okay, so that was taken away, stripped from them. And Poland's created. So Griffin, you mentioned that earlier in the invasion of Poland, right? So that's going to be the first taken, right? Yeah, that's where Germany's going to aim towards first. What else was taken away from them? So on the western side, and obviously you probably need to take it away from the eastern side, right? The Rhineland. Okay, the Rhineland's taken away from Germany, where Alsace-Lorraine's located, that territory between France, right? Between France and Germany is taken away, stripped from. A lot of that is because the Rhine River's there, and how do you transport materials and resources from these industrial areas? Through the river, right? Up the river. Okay, and you can connect to the North Sea. So the Rhineland's taken away, and this is a heavily industrialized area. So if they don't have industries, they don't have factories, do you think they can pay back these debts? No. So you see how the Big Four was really trying to stick it to Germany. If they can't pay back these debts, they're never going to become a world power ever again. That's what their thoughts were. Okay, was it fair to the German people, citizens? Probably not. But there's a lot of hatred and decision making from the Big Four that was placed on Germany. Good. All right, and the last one. Not only borderlands were taken away from them, but what else? Their industrialized areas right close to where their country's located, but what else was taken away from them? What other lands? What other lands did they have? What's that? Yeah, good job. Territorial possessions. Gone. Taken away. Territorial possessions. I know it's hard to read. Sorry about that. So territorial possessions. Make sure you guys remember this list here. So they're territories, especially out in Asia, right, where they had these markets and connected to these Asian markets where they could use for trade and help fuel some of the resources that they don't have in Germany. Africa, okay, natural gas, oil, a lot of these resources that, again, Germany doesn't really have too much of. Look how small Germany is as a country in Europe. It's jammed right in the middle. You guys didn't know, here's Germany right here, brown. Okay. So they didn't have all the resources like, let's say, the United States has. The United States is huge compared to what Germany is. I'll bring that here. Oh, come on. What the heck? There it is. That's a little better. So Germany's right here. Look how small it is compared to the United States. We can already see who has more resources. Russia, same thing. Russia, look how big Russia is compared to Germany, right? So they needed these territorial possessions to fuel their economy, right? To fuel their businesses, their factories, to become a stronger, dominant country. And if they take away those territories where these resources are coming in from, if they don't have a navy to protect those resources coming into Germany, then how are they going to pay back those debts? They can't. You guys see how the Big Four really tried to stick it to Germany? Yeah, okay, there you go. That was the one cause I wanted to go over today. That was the biggest one, okay? And when we're looking at World War II, we know that World War I has to be a cause, and the Treaty of Versailles was that issue, okay? Was that thorn in the side for Germany for about a decade till Adolf Hitler comes into power. A little bit more than a decade. Okay, is there any questions on that? Any questions at all? Real quick, I want to assign this reading for you. I will have the lesson link then as well. So if you forgot some information, if you need some information for the reading later, there it is for you. Okay, so I'm going to sign this right now for you. You can work on it. You got about 5 minutes, 6 minutes or so to complete that. All right, so cause of World War II, Treaty of Versailles. Have that finished for tomorrow. Start a class. There you go. Is there any questions? We good. We're good with these 5 points that were placed on Germany from the treaty. Okay. To remember the Big Four. Good, good.